Welcome, everyone, to Double Eagle, the golf podcast. I'm Ray J. Akers, courtesy of SkyviewSports.net. I have with me PGA professional Jaacob Bowden. Jaacob, I tell you, when I look at your website, I can hardly keep up with you. You're a world explorer, you're a professional golfer, you're a personality, and a lot more. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I just turned 50 recently, and so it's been 23 years now as a pro. And the days can go by slowly, but I'm certainly experiencing now the decades going by quickly. So
Yeah, they say as you get older, the time goes by much quicker as you get older, and when you're younger, you can hardly wait to do things, and then when you're older, you're like, I've already done all that. So, but anyway. I see that you've lobbed off some of your hair. What happened? Did you lose a bet, or you just going for that macho look?
Oh, no, it was just time for a vibe change. I had it long for maybe 8 or 9 years, so it was
Yeah.
certainly a chapter, probably most of my 40s. And I think it was a couple of reasons I did that. It was one, my hair was receding and thinning a little bit, so I was like, let me have it long while I still can. And then at some point when I kind of let go of that, then there was like a spiritual component to it. It's just I kind of wanted to see how long would it grow if it was just what would its natural full length be if I let it do that. So that was interesting to find out too. And then it was just time for a vibe change.
I certainly makes sense to me. Well, I want to start off with, are you still a member of the Detroit Golf Club?
Yes, yes.
And so I want to start right there. The Rocket Mortgage just finished up. I've talked to all kinds of PGA professionals. I talked to Mike Tirico about it just a few days ago. Anyway, what did you think of the final Rocket Classic and the new design change and the new holes? What says you?
Well, I'm personally, there's a part of me that's sad to see it go. I always find it fun to have to be part of a tour venue, and to get to play and practice and train. And it's really cool when you can get the PGA Tour come through, because they have so much data available that you can really kind of look at what the tour does there and just see, all right, what's the best way to play this course? Where are players doing it differently? Where are they making mistakes? Because that actually, I found that to be the case too. But the renovation, it's amazing how quick it happened. It was just done in like a year. Aesthetically, it looks a lot better. I think I think the flattest course on tour, and so they raised the bunkers up, and then put some like kind of eyelash grass on it. So when you're on the tee, it looks very visually intimidating. But if you look at like a satellite view or your yardage book, you'll see that like, oh, if I clear this, then I have 50 yards before the next one. So it's a little more strategic right now than it was. And then also the heather, is you definitely want to stay out of that. I've played with some members where on one hole they might lose 4 balls, and even there was a guy I played with on the first green. There's heather right around the green, so you really want to be careful about going to pins. And he hit a ball, and it was in the heather, and it was suspended about a foot in the air. It was kind of just held up like
Yeah,
that. I've never seen something like that. So
yeah.
there were more disasters in play, I guess. But if you played strategically and your ball striking was on, there was still an opportunity to score, and he certainly did see that. There were some 61s out there, I think 3 of them. And
Yep.
then the winning score was roughly what it has been in previous years, adjusted for par. So par was 70 this year instead of 71. So if you knock 4 shots off what par has been previously, the scoring was about the same. But you could also see there were some at the bottom end, there were some more disasters when guys were a little off with their ball striking, a little
Mhm.
careless with where they were aiming, or maybe getting a little too aggressive on the greens, and finding that heather.
Yeah, well, instead of hippie lettuce, I just got a new one, eyelash grass. I'm gonna have to use that one the next time I talk to somebody. I love that, and some of that grass, the fescues almost look like hay because the grass was sideways, and if your ball went in there, you might step on a ball, you might step on somebody's ball, but it probably wouldn't be your ball. So, like you say, you did not want to go in there.
I actually
One,
think it's a little bit easier to play with the tour there, because the tours they have spotters. There's galleries. The
Yeah, that's
galleries are
true.
tramping some of the rough down. So I've had that happen in a British Open qualifier before, where had a crowd of people not been there to help me find my ball, I would have lost the ball in the rough. So it certainly has its advantages when you're playing it from a tour standpoint.
Yeah, I don't see anybody for us bogey golfers that are, we don't have anybody trying to trample down the grass for us. And that's why we're going to talk in a couple of questions on how to help some of the average and above average golfers out there. Taking a look, you are playing in a Michigan PGA event coming up at the first of the week. I didn't get a chance. Where's that tournament happening?
It's the Michigan Senior PGA Championship, which is a sectional qualifier for the Senior PGA Championship, so it's senior major.
Oh, okay.
With the PGA Championship, it works in three levels. There's a sectional qualifier, and then a national qualifier, and then the major. So you got to advance through all of those to get to the major. But that's it'll be my first senior start coming up in a couple of days. I'm excited about that. It's going to be fun to be the young guy again. And it's funny thinking of myself as a senior, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, at least you're not really ready for the early bird special. That's for sure. That's in a few years. Where's this qualifier taking place at?
Oh, yes. So I'm in Detroit. The Michigan one is in Brutus, Michigan. It's near Boyne. It's Hidden Valley Hunting. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but I'll get a practice round in 2 days. I haven't seen the course yet, so I don't really know what it's like, but online the pictures look nice. So
Yeah. Well, taking a look, they had the media day for the Ally Challenge about 3 weeks ago, and Stuart Sink, the two-time defending champion, spoke to him, and Michael Block, I don't know if I want to call him an international sensation, but he definitely is a well-known player because of his performance like 3 years ago in the regular PGA. He's going to be in that tournament as well. I know that you would like to try to qualify and not only qualify, but I'd like to see you get an exemption into that tournament to have a Michigan product in there, a long drive champion. What would it mean to you to actually play in the Ally Challenge against some of the best PGA Tour it's PGA Tour Champions players on earth?
yeah, well, Michael Block, he's a fantastic player. He's played in a lot of PGA Tour, qualified for a lot of PGA Tour events. He's qualified for a lot of majors. He got a lot of media attention when he made that hole in one a few years ago
Yeah.
with Rory McIlroy. So it's a fantastic player. So it's cool that he got an exemption. And then it's also really great the idea that all the guys that I grew up with watching on TV when I was younger, I could be out there playing with them. And then this is the Ally Challenge is the tournament for Michigan. So for me, it would be have some local meaning. So if that could be my PGA Tour or PGA Champions start, like my first senior start on the Champions Tour, that'd be amazing. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would love an exemption, or love to get through the qualifiers for sure. That would be a great place to start.
Well, it would be nice to see you in there. And over the years, George Bowman's played in it at Oakhurst. Scott Hebert, Michael Workmeister, he's been in there. And there's been a few other guys as well. I'm trying to think of course, Todd Gillis, who retired a few years ago. He's also played in that event. So Michigan's been well represented. We hope to have you on there. How is your long game? Because that's how I got to hear about you. I'm like, this guy is a long drive guy. He's in Michigan, and he's got all kinds of tools to help you. And how are you hitting them?
Hitting them good. I have two swings that I work with. One with my driver swing, it's a little bit more of a long drive swing. At the moment, if I use that, I can push 180 ball speed, 120 clubhead speed. So you look at the PGA Tour champions, it would be top of the tour. So for my age, I'm still very long. I also have more of like kind of a dead hand swing that's a quiet hand swing. So it's a little bit more accurate. That pulls some of the power back, but it brings my dispersion in quite a bit. So that one, At the moment, probably is kind of between 106 and 111 club head speed. So it knocks some power off, but like I can control it a little bit better. So I'll use both of those. So power is good. It can be more. I haven't done any swing speed training for a long time. So that is certainly something I could still reach into my pocket and like start working on that. There's only so much time in the day right now, so that's I'm just
Right.
trying to get back to a playable golf game first, and then once that kind of settles in a little bit more, then I'd like to add some speed back into it.
Yeah. Now, for our viewers out there, Jacob, one of the things I read about you is you said your swing speed, you were no more than an average golfer swing speed wise when you first, at the very beginning of your journey, and then you talk about 180 swing speed. So for a guy, I'm 64, I know I'm not going to hit the ball 390 yards. That's not the goal. But I would like to hit it 280 to 300. Is that doable for a guy who's probably a bogey golfer? When I was on last year, I was hitting the ball. I was hitting the ball extremely well, but I'm 3 surgeries later. But I'm not. I'm a bulldog, Jacob. I'm like you. I never give up. You're planning for the senior tour. I just want to be the best I can be. So, can you take an average person if they do your swingman program? What could somebody expect if they went ahead and followed some of the tools that you have and videos that you have online?
Yeah, like you were saying, when I first started, I was 27 and a 14 index golfer, just hit average distances. So I was just, your average run of the mill golfer. So I started out very just normal, and then it's 23 years ago now. When I first started, I started working with Dan Schauger and Mike Austin for all my technique. And then at the time in 2003, golf fitness, it wasn't even a thing. You'd hear a little bit about Greg Norman and Tiger Woods and Gary Player doing fitness, but it wasn't really golf specific fitness yet, and people hadn't really figured that out. But I knew from my background in other sports, I played Division II college basketball. I could dunk a basketball. I had a tryout with the Twins for baseball. So I knew in high school I'd been cut from a baseball team, so I knew how to make some pretty rapid, drastic changes. And also knew from other sports that could be done. So I tried to like pick and choose some stuff from other sports. Like, all right, I need to hit the ball. I'd like to hit the ball longer. I worked on my technique. I worked on my equipment fitting as best as I could, as we knew how back in 23 years ago. And then I started like, all right, well, if that's kind of I'm getting as much out of that as I can, as I know how do I get more? And then that's where I started kind of the beginnings of like the swing speed training programs that I developed. And in that first year, after 6 months of starting, I won the Pinnacle Distance Challenge with a televised 381-yard drive. We went up against the old Pinnacle Distance Challenge team, Pinnacle Distance team. And Dan Beaver, he won a World Long Drive championship. He was the guy that I beat to win that. And then the winners went to Vegas to go up against John Daly. So it was to go from just average golfer to that in 6 months. It was amazing, and that was kind of how I got my start in golf. And in lieu of getting sponsorships, I was trying to find a way to fund my career, because I was born in a trailer in rural Missouri. It's kind of a miracle that I'm in golf even. So I was thinking like, all right, what's a way? People are asking me how I got long so quickly. What's maybe a way that I could maybe monetize this and help people out at the same time? And I also knew that, like, all right, I did some pretty extreme things, pushing myself, pushing my body to get those gains. Like, what if I took the bare bones of that and then tested it on 5 people of different ages, different handicaps? I tested it on a junior, a guy in his 30s, a guy in his 50s, and a guy in his 60s, different skill levels. And the bar was, if they all get 10 miles an hour in a month, then it's worth turning this into a product. And keep in mind, back then, there were trainers talking about getting 1 or 2 miles an hour in an entire season. So I was like, I was kind of had a high bar there for myself. And then after a month, they all, just with the basic bare bones stuff, they all got 12 to 16 miles an hour. which was fantastic. And even today, that was 2007. I did that, where I tested it on other people. So we're 19 years in, and the results that I was getting with that are still like top of industry. So, and what you could, so average golfers, I would say, can expect in a month to get 12 to 16 miles an hour. And there's two things that are kind of the main pillars of that. And it's I don't know, it's simpler than it's not rocket science, I guess. The first part is first pillar is just practice swinging fast. And it's if you think about it, it's kind of like that with anything in life. It's like, all right, I want to get better at that. All right, well, let me work on it a little bit. So if you want to get faster, we all have max speeds and playing speeds. So if you spend a little bit of time, and not like maybe 2 days a week, swinging 30 max swings, not like rapid fire, but just kind of at a cadence that you would at a driving range. So hit a ball as hard as you can, work in that 100% zone, take a minute, or well, take a few seconds, reset, do another one, and do 30 of those reps. And I kind of came up with 30 because I figured, like, all right, you're probably going to need for a good golfer, you're probably going to need about that many full swings in a round of golf if you take out all the putts and chips and pitch shots.
Sure.
So I thought, like, that'll be enough. Just do that a couple times a week, say Monday, Thursday. That's the first part. So yeah, the idea is, like, if you work to raise your max speed, when you back off to your play control speed, that goes up proportionally. So that's the first part. And you see a lot of that in the industry with like super speed golf or the stack. There's like training aids where people are kind of starting to glean onto, like, all right, you don't necessarily need a training aid to do that. If you just have a little portable radar and you use your driver, and that's it. It's that main pillar is just practicing swinging fast a little bit. No one does that. So if you just start with that, it makes a difference. The second part is everyone, whether you're at the top of the backswing, whether you're senior lady or world long drive champion, they're at 0 at their transition, and then they get down to whatever they are in impact. So that's the most important part to, if you kind of break apart the swing, to increase your strength and speed and power. So what I did, so what you want to do is increase the strength of what you can do from here to here. And I found that band isometrics are really good. I found out about this from looking at Bruce Lee's training, because he was really small, but he was like super fast and super powerful. He could generate a lot of power really quickly. So how that works, Bruce Lee, the martial artist.
That Bruce Lee. I'm like, I mean, I get that one. I was thinking there's a Bruce Lee PGA Pro.
No. This was, I had this to keep in mind, going back into the mid 2000s, this didn't exist in the industry. So I had to look elsewhere to think about, all right, how can I get faster and more powerful? And those clues were there in other areas. So with an isometric is basically like, if I have a wall here and I push against it, I push against it as hard as I can, I'm not going to be moving, but I'm going to be exerting a lot of effort. So the idea with bands is you go to the top of your backswing and stretch out the band. You can walk it out and then hold as much resistance as you can there for 8 to 10 seconds. You do that with 2 hands, right hand and left hand, and then you do it halfway down, and then you do it.
What type of weight are you using? I mean, are you using like 40-pound rubber band weights or 10, or what do you find to be the best?
So what you do is you go. It doesn't really matter the brand. I've used some ones from Body Elastics for a long time, but the main thing is, like, get different levels of resistance. A lot of them are colored or labeled with a resistance number. So, that, all right, if I do 5 on this week, next week I want to try and do 7, and then the next week I want to try and do 9. So over the course of the month, you get a little bit stronger with what you can kind of start pull down, and then get through
Yeah.
impact. And when you're so you're getting stronger with that main key of like from the top of the backswing down to impact. And when you combine that with practicing swinging fast, that's the thing that like really gives it that extra boost. So you can get maybe half of it, half with each. So you get half the gains with like with the practicing swinging fast, and half with the strengths gains. And most people, like you're talking about the average golfer, or a lot of the people that I've worked with are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even maybe even 90s. And most people just aren't, or they're busy with work and family and
Right.
vacations and just life. So most people aren't doing anything. So just starting with like those two things, it might take 15, 20 minutes a couple times a week over a month. It really boosts your speed a lot. There was a guy one of the guys in that initial test group, he was 55, never hit a 300-yard drive in his life. And after a month, I went and played Recreation Park in Los Angeles with him, and he hit multiple drives over 300 on his course, and he was like in shock because he didn't know how to play his own home course because he was hitting from places he'd never been before.
Yeah. Right.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
I
kind
bet
of like that's kind of the gist of like basic what I would call basic swing speed training.
And so what we're going to do, we're going to take a real quick 30. And when we do that, on the other side, Jacob's going to tell you how you can subscribe, how you can do some of these things yourself, and I'll kind of unfold how I got to know about you, and we're going to do that in 30. Golf course properties and great golf holes are showcased best from the air to give your business a magical aerial feel. 400-foot Cinema uses great angles, a cinematic feel, and show your property to customers and golfers so they want to visit your place of business and take their families or enjoy a round of golf. 400-foot Cinema is FAA certified and insured and has been to some of the most elite properties in golf. Contact 400-foot Cinema, where we can shoot as few as 3 golf holes for news stories or the entire course for a reasonable fee, and you control the content. Call us at 248-238-4449 or email us at roy@www.skyviewsports.net to find out more. Well, we're back on Double Eagle, the golf podcast. We have Jaacob Bowden, PGA professional. Jaacob is kind of like a man. You're like a Renaissance man, really. I mean, you're like a world traveler. You're a PGA professional. You went, from a golf standpoint, for those of you who are wanting to find out more about Jaacob's product and how you can reach him, I found out about you during probably 4 or 5 years ago for some videos that you recorded. I think it was a series of 5 of them, and I think you were using rubber band training, but I was using cables at Planet Fitness, and I don't think there's any shortcut to the swinging fast and doing the rubber bands. So what I want you to kind of take us through how we can go to Swingman, how we can find out this training, and so that we can kind of hit the ball somewhat like you.
Yeah, well, the nice thing is that no matter what your age is, you can always improve from where you are. There's this nice quote that I got from a book that I read back in the 90s. It's only too late if you don't start now. And that applies to like just at any point in life, I think. So anyway, so there's a few places that you can go if you want to find more resources. There's a couple free ones. So on golfwrx.com, I have an author profile there. There's a number of articles that talk specifically about what we've been talking about, so you can see some pictures and see the text and digest it a little bit easier. And then on YouTube, at the top of COVID there in April, a month into COVID, me, like many others, were trying to figure out, like, all right, what do we do now? We're stuck at home here. And so I made a series of free videos on YouTube, golf workouts at home. And if there's one, it was a 5-day program, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days. If you take the day 4 program and just do that twice a week, say Monday, Thursday, it's a little bit more, I don't want to say intense, but it's the next level beyond the basic training that I would say. Do the basic training. And then if you do that day 4 workout, once maybe you top, or if you just want to start off with that right away, like you could do that, and that the potential with that is much more. And then if you want paid products, there's my website, swingmangolf.com. It's I launched it in 2007, so that was the place where I initially put like all the things that I had learned through the 515-yard drive with Mike Austin, how I went from 14 handicap golfer to pro golfer, and then how I increased my swing speed so rapidly and drastically, and then what people could do if they wanted to do that on their own. So it's kind of like a bit of archival material, but it's all still relevant. So.
All right. So what we're going to do is swingmangolf.com. We have B-roll that we put on the videos. And folks, that's like when you talk to Michael Jordan, you get tired of him after a while, so you put the dunks on in the background. That's the B-roll. So we're going to do that throughout our interview today with Jaacob. You're going to find out how that you can get those products. And then what I hope to have, Jaacob, is once in a while we have you on to kind of get your progress out there and let people know that how they can find you, and maybe develop a winter program, which will help you with subscriptions, and it'll help people so that you're not starting all over in January, going to a golf dome, and then you're trying to figure out what you were doing in that. So is it okay to have you on here once in a while so that people can find you and subscribe?
Yeah, I'd be happy to come on whenever you like.
All right. Thank you very much. Everybody, Jaacob Bowden, PGA professional. He's going to be going for the PGA event. He's also looking to get into the LI Challenge and some other, other tournaments that are at that level for the PGA Tour Champions. Jaacob, thanks again for coming on. And once again, we hope to have you on soon. Thank you, Jaacob.
Yeah, thank you. Great to talk to you, and thanks for having me on.